Guys, we have made it to the final lesson of the Red Rose Trading Tier Footies course. Give yourselves a round of applause. We have made it 2 tiers down, and by the end of this tier, we are ready to jump into some trading after this. But, of course, before we do, as you would have guessed by the title of this, we have to set some goals. And not just trading goals, this will definitely help you in terms of like setting goals for your life in general. But I'm going to base it sort of around trading goals just to make it a little bit easier for you. And then, of course, you can implement this into like your own life and goals that you want to hit, like buying a car or whatever the heck it is, right? So, everybody knows how to set a goal, right? You write it down on a bit of paper by the start of the New Year's, and you say, "That's my goal for the year. I want to kiss a snail." But how do we actually get to our goals? That's what we really need to dive deep into. Now, it's all well and good to think of a goal, but of course, we need to break it down. The best way, the way that I was taught to do this is by setting up a big goal, like a long-term goal, and then breaking it down into smaller goals under that and achieving those goals in order to then complete the major goal that we have set for ourselves. So that's why we can see that by the title of this, I've named it Setting Short-Term Goals to Achieve Long-Term Goals. So what do we want to do first? Obviously, oh my god, we want to set our long-term goal. So I'm going to keep this trading related for now, and then yeah, we can go from there. So our long-term goal, what do we want it to be? We want our long-term goal to be, let's say we know how to trade. We have all the stuff, all the tools to be, in order to be taking trades. We'll be learning how to put it all together in the next tier of our course. But our long-term goal as traders may be to pass a funded account, right? That is our long-term goal that we're going to set an example for. Pass our funded account is our long-term goal, because obviously as traders, we want to make money. We're not in it just for the fun of it. Yes, it is kind of fun, but we still want to be making money. So our long-term goal is going to be to pass a funded account. Now we need short-term goals to achieve the long-term goals. I'm not going to write all that, but short-term goals to achieve our long-term goals. So we want to have a few goals that are much easier to achieve in a shorter period of time. Hence the fact it's called a short-term goal. But our long-term goal, let's say you start a funded account in January and you want to pass it by the end of the year. What do we actually need to do in order to pass that account? So basically, break down what is required to get to that goal. So passing a funded account, what do we have to do? One of the first things we have to do is follow our trading plan every day. We'll be going into trading plans next lesson, potentially. It's definitely in the next tier of the course. I think it might be the next lesson even. But follow our trading plan every single day. That is a very, very achievable goal that you can do every single day. And that just right there is one step closer to passing your long-term goal. A second short-term goal that we can now set is use risk management every day. Boom. Again, part of our trading plan, but still, we want to use risk management every single day. By doing so, we know that we're not going to over-risk ourselves. We know that we're not going to be losing more money than we should be to look to achieve our goal. Then, we also want to journal every trade. That could be a goal to set. Again, very, very simple, these short-term goals. Just by doing these, your brain will be ticking over going, yes, I'm doing it. I'm achieving my goals every single day. I may not be actually physically increasing my profit towards the target that I need to pass my funded account, but I am passing all of my short-term goals in order to get there. It does take time, all right? This shit doesn't happen instantly. We can also trade without emotion. Most of this stuff is going to be coming in the next tier. So setting up like this, adding it to the next tier of the course, it'll make a lot more sense. But I wanted to put it at the end of this one because we basically want to set a few goals as well now that we're moving into actually taking trades and executing trades. So let's just use these couple of examples for now. So our long-term goal for this example is to pass a funded account. By taking these short-term goals, we can of course achieve that. So another thing that I want to say is that the way that you write down your short-term goals should be, what is the word where you write it of like, I will, no, not I will. Write it as if you're doing it now. That's what it is. So I follow my trading plan every day. I use risk management every day. I journal every trade. I trade without emotion. By writing it like this, it's like a hack on your brain. Writing it in the past tense as if you're already doing it, it'll trick your brain into saying, yeah, I do that. And you'll follow a rhythm, you'll get into a rhythm, and you'll just start doing this shit without even thinking about it. You will every single day come in and start following your trading plan because there's no reason not to be following it. Like, you have it set up for a reason. I'll be getting into that more in the next lesson, I understand. But that's perfectly good example of how we should be writing out our goals. This is sort of just like manifesting as well, in a sense, you know, the way that you should be writing it out. But set up your goals. Let's do some homework, all right? We'll get into some homework real quick into this. I want you guys to basically write down 3 long-term goals that you guys want to achieve, be it by the end of the year. Who knows, all right? Let's just say by the end of the year, 3 big goals that you want to achieve, all right? Write those down. It could be passing a funded account like we have here. It could be anything. Then once you've written those 3 goals down, I'm going to need you to write out 10 short-term goals or short-term steps to take to achieve those goals that you've set out for yourself. Write down 3 long-term ones on a bit of paper, on a doc, doesn't matter. Write down your 3 long-term goals that you want by the end of the year. Then each one, break it down 10 steps or 10 goals to achieve each and every day in order to get one step closer to reaching that final goal. So a lot of what I'm saying right now in this lesson is going to tie in heavily to the White Rose trading tip, but I wanted to get us started on some goal setting before we moved into that, because then we can use the things that we learn in that section to apply it to our goals. So we want to be setting some goals and some markers and just some stepping stones that we want to achieve, right? This is how we achieve our goals. I don't know if you guys have ever read this book, Think and Grow Rich, right? But it is a super good book. I do highly recommend it. Think and Grow Rich. You've probably heard of it if you're watching this course for sure, but read it, especially just the chapter on desire. Like desire, it basically, the book is talking about how you can just think in a certain way. It's all about the thoughts that you are putting out. It manifests into a physical reality. There's an example in this book where his son, when his son was born with no ears, and he was set to be permanently deaf for the rest of his life. He got told that as soon as the doctor, brought him out, had no ears. Shit, my son is unable to be able to hear. He said right then in that moment, as soon as the doctor said that your son will never be able to hear and possibly be a mute for the rest of his life, he decided, no, that's not happening. Like, my son will be able to hear and vocalize and speak just as any normal person would. That's fucking ridiculous to be thinking about something like that. Like, your son literally has no ears and you're sitting here going, no, like, scratch that. My son, I'm going to make sure that he knows that he'll be able to hear just like every other person did. Now, it's a bit of a long story, but it basically goes on and he implements this desire in his son's mind that he will be able to hear. And by reinforcing that desire, his son picks up the desire and eventually they actually get it done. Like, his son finds a product that allows him to hear, even though he's taken him to the doctors growing up and literally he's got no ears, and then they've examined inside his brain. There is no tools, natural tools that should allow him to hear, whatever the heck is built into our ears. I don't know. Read the story, but it's basically something along the lines of that. So that just shows you how powerful our minds are. The fact that he was told, and he shouldn't have been able to hear like a normal person, but he just kept going, and his dad put the desire in his mind that yes, you will. So desire basically beats everything. If you got a desire strong enough and the faith to keep it, and you can see it, it's like what Conor McGregor said, if you can see it here and you have the heart to speak it, something like that, I don't know, then it will come true. And that's exactly what we are looking to do in terms of trading. Now, this is not just in terms of trading as well. This is in terms of everything. You got to be setting goals like this. You're getting into trading because you want to change your life, right? That's why we're all getting into trading. We've seen the lifestyle it can provide for others, and that's why we're getting into it as well. We need to change our mindset, get into that zone, fucking think differently than every other person. Don't be listening to outside information. Have your goals set in mind, have your vision, and fucking tunnel vision. Tunnel vision, bro. That's what you need. You need tunnel vision. You can't be seeing anything else, right? It has to be this as plan A or plan A again. Something like that. Because this is the way you should be thinking if you, of course, want to change your life, which is what we want to do. I'm not just making this course to be like, oh, look, yep, this is how you trade. It's concept, blah, blah, blah. I also want to help you guys, I want to help you better your lives because there's so many people out there that are not living the ideal life and it sucks and it's hard and it's really fucking hard to get out of that. But the mindset is so important and that's what's going to be coming with White Rose Trading Tier. So that'll be in the next few lessons. We'll be going over mindset heavily, mainly in terms to do with trading because that's what we're here for. But then you can also relate all of the shit that I'm teaching you into real life and you'll be able to take it into there and just redefine aspects of your life, make them even better. Holy shit, I'm still talking. But I think I've pretty much covered what we have to do in terms of this lesson. So in terms of goal setting lesson, that is it. I was getting a little bit carried away with myself, I won't lie, but we will be very much into the mindset sort of thing coming up in the next section of the course. But again, round of applause for completing 2 sections of the course. It's kind of like halfway there because we have 4 sections, but the 4th is after you've made it. So the next session is the big section. So get excited. We'll be looking to put together our strategy, build it, perfect it, and then we'll go from there and then focus on psychology as well, which is very, very important. So I'll be seeing you guys in the next section. Let's get to it. I'm excited.